It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning, Wednesday, October the 23rd. I am very glad to be with you. Let's get right to your top 5 at 6. This is an important day every year, October 23rd, National Croc Day. I don't mean those bizarre animals that live in Australia. No, not a croc like that, mate. It's a National Croc Day, those bizarre shoes that we all hate to admit how damn comfortable they are.
They are pretty damn comfortable, and I believe you had a Father's Day pair that were gifted to you.
Yeah.
The orange ones?
2006, the orange Crocs for Father's Day.
And that was your introduction, so you were forced into them.
I was forced into Crocs in 2006. The World Cup was happening. I cheer for the Dutch team, so my son brought me orange Crocs, and I wore them every day for 6 months. Once I put them on, I was like, oh my God. I actually played a gig in them, and that was, and seriously, everyone was like, dude, don't go on stage in those. I was like, watch me. They were amazing. I had a pair of Crocs that I would cut the grass in. I had my orange ones. I've had 3 pair over the years. And then I don't have any now, and now that we're talking about it, I'm like, by God, I might go get some Crocs today. They're
a cultural phenomenon and have lasted. You know, they thought, oh, these aren't going to last, but they certainly have lasted. And I wonder if you were as proud of Connell at that time as this mother is of her son. So he has a key ring that's got a little croc on it. You know those key rings, a little croc hanging on a chain?
It's adorable.
Isn't it adorable? And he puts it on his finger. Here's the audio.
What you got?
A croc ring.
A croc ring?
Oh. Yeah.
Well. A croc ring?
Yeah.
That's for your finger, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I'm not trying to brag, but I used my actual Croc as a Croc ring. Ryder, never a pair of Crocs.
No, I don't get the Crocs, man. Like, I just can't get my head around it.
You don't have to. Just put your foot into it and you'll get it.
They come in goth black. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, you know they do. The Crocs have never gone away. Unlike number 4 on your top 5 at 6, scurvy. But like the Croc, hey, scurvy's back. Great news.
Oh my God.
Scurvy, a disease caused by severe and chronic deficiency of vitamin C. The sailor's disease. The old days, the guys spending their lives at sea in the 1700s, their teeth would fall out. They'd be fatigued and body aches. Scurvy. Give them an orange and they'd bounce right back. Now, apparently, scurvy is coming back. An awful lot of people, and by the way, I'm not talking about like Papua New Guinea. I'm saying in America, North America, U.S. and Canada, scurvy coming back.
If you're looking for a new excuse to call in sick to work, scurvy would be the one to go with.
Who's going to believe that?
Well, listen, I have suffered from both shingles and gout. And I always said scurvy's the last part of the trifecta. And then I can truly say I'm like an 18th century loser. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe I'm just going to see how long it takes. If I forego vitamin C, I'll just keep you posted. And then I'm going to wake up one day and be like, yep, my joints are killing me. My teeth are wobbly.
Gordon could make it in scurvy.
Get a glass of orange juice, ladies and gentlemen. Please, I beg you.
God.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 6. Whether or not you care about the Los Angeles Lakers or the National Basketball Association, last night in L.A., the Minnesota Timberwolves were a part of a game that is NBA history. LeBron James and his son Bronny played together for the L.A. Lakers. LeBron is 39. His son is 20. And I'm not a LeBron James fan. He's an amazing player. He's a legend. He's at worst the second best player in the history of the sport. I get it. Never been my guy, but I fully respect him. The fact that he has a 20-year-old son and he's 39, I'm sorry, I have to look at him and go, wait, this kid at 19 years old had a son and it was already King James and he's done, that's right, nothing wrong. He's never lost his mind. He's walked it and talked it for 20 years. You can cheer against him and you can say he's a little full of himself. Whatever. He was famous at 17. Where's the gambling controversy? Right. Where's the baby mama? Where's the drug addiction?
Where's
nothing.
The Diddy party?
He's like the guy, he's like the guy.
We don't know for sure.
He's the guy, though. But, I mean, there's never even been a hint. And now his son is on the team with him. Pretty incredible. I mean, and just as a dad, 25 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, whatever. The kid wouldn't be there if LeVon wasn't his dad. That's hardly the point.
Right.
As a dad now, it blows my mind. Gordie Howe, cheers to you, playing with not one but two of his sons.
Right.
For several years. Tim Raines, great baseball player, played with his son for the Baltimore Orioles in 2001. And then, of course, Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr., who were on hand last night at the Lakers game.
Yeah.
Very short list right there. You tell me when an NFL player plays with his son. That's what Tom Brady. You should have had a kid in college, you dummy. You could have truly been the GOAT.
I'll predict it would be kickers.
Morton Anderson. You didn't have a kid that you could give that
18-year
Come
careers,
on,
yeah.
crazy. Number 2 on your top 5 at 6. We are now officially 11 days away from daylight saving time, and 11 days away is when people start to dread daylight saving time.
All right, I know. But this is the good one. We gain an hour on the weekend, right?
Yeah,
but
and I don't dread it. I don't think about it. Every year I'm like on Saturday, it's today. And then I wake up and my clocks have automatically set themselves back.
Right.
And then I have to go deal with the damn microwave like everybody else. But I don't think about it. And then I spend the next 7 days bitching because it does throw me off. And it gets worse. And I would love for the clocks to never move again. But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. To start dreading it 11 days out.
I can't imagine that.
People that go into a depression and take the day off and all of that. Right? It's I don't particularly get it, but, take a deep breath. There's a hell of a lot more to worry about.
Yeah, did you really never just pull an all-nighter? Did you?
Yeah, right.
Have you never been stuck at an airport or a train station or a bus station for 8 extra hours? I mean, it's just one of those days. Things happen.
Isn't every weekend for everyone daylight savings time? Does everyone go to bed at the same time on the weekend that they go to bed during the week? I sure as hell don't.
That should be daylight savings. Does need new branding. Every weekend is daylight savings. You're right. You just hit a T-shirt idea that's gold.
All right.
Hey, Little Canada. Good morning. Want to give our friends in Little Canada a little shout out, eh?
Yeah. I mean, are you still proud of that name? No. I love me Little Canada.
Yeah, man.
I lived right there on the border of Little Canada, and one of my favorite Mexican restaurants was there. It's no longer open.
When I first hit town, the first time I drove past and saw a sign for Little Canada, I was so charmed. I was like, it made me think of the SCTV movie of the week, Polynesia Town, starring Johnny LaRue. Little takeoff of Chinatown there.
They have all those little maple trees in Little Canada.
Most things do remind me of SCTV, though, to be fair.
Nothing wrong with that.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 6. Man, this is a drag for everybody who remembers 1981 Fernando Mania. Fernando Valenzuela died at the age of 63. And by the way, imagine being a Yankees fan. You're about to take on the Dodgers in a World Series, and Fernando dies. Give it up. It's going to be a 4-game sweep. The Dodgers are going to win this World Series. Fernando Valenzuela. In my life, the number of comet-like career moments. There was Doc Gooden, there was Mark Fidrich, the Bird in Detroit, and they both pale in comparison to Fernando. Young pitchers hit the big leagues, and the world just stopped spinning on its axis. That was Fernando Valenzuela. Yeah. And a great broadcaster for the Dodgers for years, and by all accounts, just the loveliest guy on earth. Rest easy, Big Daddy.
Yeah, and I think did you mention 17? Yes, 17 years in the major. I think sometimes people forget how long he played because that 81 season was so magical with the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year. And, by the way, won a World Series. And I think the fact that Major League Baseball is about half Latin players can be directly linked to Fernando Valenzuela and that screwball. I was playing Teener Ball that summer, and everything was Fernando. He was on TV a lot more, and everyone was talking about that unhittable screwball that he had, which is basically a slider or a curveball, but it breaks the other way, and no one was throwing it at the time, and he threw it perfectly and owned that season, and we were all out there trying to figure out how to throw a screwball.
I wasn't playing baseball at that time. I only played like 1 year of Little League in my whole life, but in the backyard, wiffle ball or just playing catch with the glove, whatever, everybody I knew did a Fernando. The eyes would point up.
Straight
the big
up.
Everything about Fernando was at a time when a major league pitcher could capture the imagination of America. That was what was going on. Rest easy, Fernando Valenzuela. At about 6:50, we're giving away golden smog tickets. We'll play a game with a couple listeners. At 7:50, we're going to give away Minnesota Wild tickets. Wild tickets. 8:20, Tiffany Norton is going to come by. We got a lot going on today.
Yeah.
The point is this. We have a lot going on. But as it's Wednesday, let's put together our own little midweek mixtape, if you will. Halloween's around the corner, and I'm curious. I'm thinking about songs, not necessarily scary songs. I don't want to hear about Monster Mash. I want to hear about songs that, for whatever reason, just simply make your skin crawl. And we've already, the 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talking text line. Already got a great text here. Melanie's brand new key.
Oh.
That one.
Whatever I had in my head just vanished.
That's all it takes. You just got to hit that note.
Okay.
And then the text goes on to say, via the Kids in the Hall skit, Doomsday DJ. Kids in the Hall put up a new season on Amazon last year.
They did.
And that song features prominently in a skit that is incredible. It's worth Doomsday DJ, and they picked the perfect song for it. Brand new key.
If you watch that first season, prepare yourself for old man full frontal nudity.
Real fast. They get right to it.
Ooh,
Yes,
yeah.
it's fine to spoil it because it's going to spoil the rest of your day when you see it. But that is an absolute great one. I hated that song when I was a kid. I hated it when I was a young adult. I really don't care for it now.
No.
I can't say I hate it anymore, but it's just because I've just gotten used to the fact that it exists.
Yeah.
But I would have signed a petition at 7 to get that off the airwaves.
Sure.
But you know, with songs that make my skin crawl, it's an obvious one. It's a lot of people, and it can be a divisive one. The first things first, it's not the worst, but it's the first one that comes to mind is always, We Built This City, Jefferson Starship.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah,
Just can't stand it. Just can't take it.
Top 40 radio. That was my first job in radio, was Top 40 radio, and that song was huge.
Yeah.
And hated it, even though there was a DJ in it. You know, some San Francisco DJ.
Knee deep in the hoopla.
Knee deep, just how this was. And remember, Platoon had come out, and White Rabbit got big again, and so that sort of pulled some of us, me younger at the time, into some of that 60s Jefferson Airplane rock. And I'm like, and then you're doing We Built This. Grace, you came this is your arc. And no, I hated that one. And then I'm thinking of those Top 40 radio days, the other one that really made my skin crawl. And maybe it was not initially, but because it was so power played. Of course, we did Don't Worry, Be Happy. That's one of them. UB40's Red Wine.
I got overplayed.
Can't do it.
Pretty rough. On the KQ Talking text line, one just came in. Anything by Cher. That's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Cher to you, bub.
I love to give her grief, but hey, listen, she's one of the great entertainers, I think, of all time. I don't Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, whatever. We'll talk about that another time, or maybe we've already talked. It's a moot point now. But yeah, what was that song? Believe, if I could turn back time.
Auto-tune was the first.
Yeah,
that one.
That was the first auto-tune song?
One of them.
The first one that it made me go, what's that? They go, auto-tune. Auto what?
Yeah, it was funny. They didn't get the memo that you're supposed to try to mask it, that you're using it. They were just like, no, turn it up, keep it down. That's a
Cher owned it.
Boy, here's another text. The Four Non-Blondes song, What's Up, makes my skin crawl. Agreed. Full-on endorsement of that one.
Yeah.
Well, we can run with this one all damn day long, and of course, we will. This is a perfect time to look back. On this day in 1935, Chicago Cubs' Gabby Hartnett was named the National League MVP. I don't care about him. I've never heard of him, but can we please have another Gabby?
Yes.
What happened to the Gabbies? What a great name. What a great name for a ball player. Kit, Sonny, Gus, Rye,
Mick,
Claude. Come on, what happened to us? Give me a Gabby up there. And now here's Gabby Rogers in the bottom of the ninth. I love the old dude names. Bring them back.
Yeah.
1964, Tokyo Olympics. German heavyweight Hans Huber. Not to be confused with Hans Gruber. Hans Huber stepped into the ring in the gold medal match. And I want you to just imagine being Hans Huber, a German heavyweight. And you're pretty damn good because you are all the way to the end of the line. It's the gold medal match, and you step into the ring, and you are looking at Joe Frazier.
Holy crap.
No.
Smoking Joe.
Some things just aren't fair.
I mean, watch that uppercut. It's going to hurt.
It's not going to come as a surprise that Joe Frazier whipped the living snot out of Hans Huber from Germany. I don't know what town he's from in Germany, but he went back there and went, well, it was okay till I saw the Frazier guy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Muhammad Ali said, when I asked about fighting Joe Frazier for the first time, he goes, man, just avoid that left hook. Just stay away from that left hook.
He said, also, one of those fights, he said, the closest thing to death I hope I ever experience.
Oh, Smoking Joe beat him to a pulp.
On this day in 1977, the New York City Marathon. Okay, Bill Rogers, a legend, won yet again, but the women's champion, fun fact, Mickey Gorman.
What?
Did you know that?
Huh? What?
Detroit native, born in 1935. My dad's little sister did not start running until she was in her 30s.
Seriously?
She's the only woman to win both the New York City and Boston marathons twice.
No kidding.
Every
really?
bit of that is true, except the fact that she was born in Detroit and that she's my aunt. No, she was born in China and then grew up in Japan and married a guy named Gorman. But hey, the fact still remains that Gorman has won the New York and Boston Marathon.
High five.
I've never met a Gorman that could run 26 miles in one day, so trust me, we'll take it.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good morning. Wednesday, October the 23rd. Golden Smog playing First Avenue November 15th. Golden Smog, a great band from this area. New drummer in town.
I like it.
I'm looking forward to it.
How many drummers the Smog has had over the years?
62.
62
drummers.
Drummers.
Is
Wow.
that
I don't know.
many?
It's a handful, to say the very least. And lately, I got the short straw, so it's me now. We're going to have a good time Friday, November 15th. We'd love to give away some tickets. I need 2 callers. 651-989-ROCK. 651-989-ROCK. Now, this game is kind of different. If the first caller wins, you're out of luck, number 2. But if the first guy whiffs, then we'll get on to the second call. That's how this is going to work. But we need someone in the batter's box, and we need someone in the on-deck circle. Go ahead and hit us up, 651-989-ROCK. While we're awaiting those callers, Rogers, good morning.
Yeah, Rogers.
Come on, Rogers, Minnesota.
Raj,
Let us know you're out there.
How you doing up there this morning, Raj?
It's a beautiful morning, or it will be when the sun comes up.
Here's what I know about Rogers. That's where I always have to stop and take a good leak. That exit right
It's
there.
the perfect place.
And it's got all my favorite fast food options. It doesn't have a Hardee's, but it has everything else.
I will say, when isn't it weird when you're on wherever you're driving, when you have a few different places you have to go on a regular basis, you do find yourself at the exact same exits having to pee. It's so Pavlovian to me.
Yeah.
When I'm doing long drives, if it's a route I've done before, I will invariably be like, well, gotta pee. And then I'm like, this is where I stopped the last time. It's like my subconscious just knows this is a good place to pee.
Well, it's more than a good place to pee. Rockin' Rogers, as it's known. In fact, they have I'm going to screw this up. Back me up on the talk and text line here, 651-989-ROCK. Isn't there like a summer festival up there, Rockin' Rogers? I feel like I've been up to it before, but I have a horrible memory. Rockin' Rogers, yeah.
Well, anyway, for anyone who is or isn't rocking in Rogers, we're happy to have you with us, and we want to wish you a very fine Wednesday. It's going to be a Friday when the smog hits First Avenue. Hey, tonight at First Avenue, Jack White is playing.
You don't say.
Nice.
I do say.
I've been watching that one on the calendar for months in anticipation of this show. That scallywag sprung this one on everyone. Of course, it's one of these First Avenue pop-up shows, and you can speak to this better than I can, having met the man and knowing him a bit, and especially you drummers, your drummer buddies in the band. But these things sell out so fast. And I thought, God, I really want to get a ticket for my kid. And so I went on, and I know it was going to be sold out, and it was sold out, but there was one general admission ticket available on an aftermarket StubHub or something like this.
Yeah.
How much?
One ticket. Take a shot at it, Ryder. What do you think? One guess.
$234.
$9,700. I didn't check to see if it was gone. One general admission ticket to First Avenue. I wonder what the most expensive scalp ticket at First Avenue has ever been. I got to believe $9,700.
That's real close.
It got to be.
Credit to Jack, by the way, because people keep saying, like, when are you going to announce your tour dates? He goes, you'll know when I'm playing your town. Every show is announced 48 hours before he hits.
Yeah.
Because he can do that, because he's cool.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple people locked and loaded, Tony. We're going to play twofer. Last night, Ryder was at the Iron Maiden gig.
Yes.
First things first, got to be a good night, huh?
It was an amazing night. It was we were hanging out in the KQ suite, a fun time. Maiden always nails it. You go for the performance, and they definitely brought it.
Very nice. And along the way, Ryder, a little extracurricular, hung out with a few of the people in the suite, and she got some information from them, which is what we need for this game that we call twofer. Tony, who is our first contestant?
First up is Mike from the greatest area in all the land, Highland Park.
Mike, good morning, sir.
Hi.
All right, so Mike, we're playing twofer. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. We're going to get your answers, and then we will hear what I usually say barfly. One of the Iron Maiden attendees answered these same questions last night. If you match 2 of the 5, you've got tickets to Golden Smog. Are you ready, sir?
Go.
Fair enough.
What are you still
All right.
talking
All
for?
business.
Number 1, Mike, what's a good reason to stay home on Halloween?
Drinking.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, Mike, name a popular appetizer you get at a sports bar.
Wings.
Where are you likely to see a Vikings fan on game day?
Let's say at a bar.
All right, at a bar. Finish this phrase. Heavy blank.
Metal.
Bam.
Yeah.
Name something you pay too much for at a concert.
Tickets.
Hey, there you go. With the appropriate amount of disgust in his voice. All right, Mike, very well done. Ryder, who did you hang out with last night?
We checked in with Randy last night from New Ulm. He says his favorite band is Iron Maiden. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to say that just because we're at the Iron Maiden show. But
Right.
he unbuttoned his T-shirt and had the full Eddie tattooed on his chest.
Oh, my.
Real tattoo?
That's walking the walk.
It absolutely was. And he said that his favorite team is the Vikings, and here are Randy's answers. What's a good reason to stay home on Halloween?
To view all the little goblins.
Name a popular appetizer that you might get at a sports bar.
Deep fried cheesesteaks.
Where are you likely to see a Vikings fan on game day?
Midwest Bank Stadium.
That's not what
Midwest.
U.S.
what
Bank.
is it
Midwest,
called?
U.S.
whatever.
Bank Stadium.
U.S. Banks.
Finish this phrase. Heavy.
Metal.
There you go.
Name something you paid too much for at a concert.
T-shirts.
Oh, so close. Man, Mike, I thought you had that one locked down. Well played, sir. But I'm afraid.
Well, that was no fun.
No, that's no fun at all. What a waste of your good minutes in the morning. Mike, thanks for calling in. We do have time.
Yeah.
We're going to try one more caller. We'll run them down a different set of questions. Tony, who have we got?
Sandra from Carver is going to give it a run.
Sandra, good morning.
Good morning.
You hear what we're doing, right? You get this?
Yes.
All right, we got 5 questions. Good luck to you. Sandra, name something that melts.
Chocolate.
Chocolate. All right. I said, is it Sandra?
Sandra.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying Sandra. I have a buddy.
Thinking of fried chicken?
Because
I
you're
guess
mental.
so, man. I apologize, Sandra. Sandra, besides Iron Maiden's mascot, name a famous Eddie.
A famous what?
Eddie. Someone named Eddie.
Eddie Monster?
There you go. I like that one. All right, finish this phrase. Go blank.
Go Vikings.
Oh, hey, all right.
That's right.
Name a well-known brand of power tools.
A power tool?
Yep.
Milwaukee.
There you go. And then finally, who is Minnesota's most famous musician?
Prince.
Very well done, Sandra. I feel good about these 5. Ryder, who is Sandra's counterpart?
So we checked in with Justin from Hutchinson, who needed a lot of help from his older brother. That kind of surprised me. He is a big fan of Atmosphere, the hip-hop group from Minneapolis, and also likes the Vikings. So here are Justin's answers. Justin, name something that melts.
Cheese.
Besides Iron Maiden's mascot, name a famous Eddie.
I couldn't tell you. Eddie Van Halen. Oh, Eddie Van Halen. There you go.
I was like, dude, that's a gimme. Yeah. Finish the phrase. Go.
Tigers.
What?
Name a well-known brand of power tools.
Milwaukee.
Yes.
Who is Minnesota's most famous musician?
Prince.
Yes, Sandra. Woo!
Cliffhanger.
All right, Sandra, you did it. You got your 2 first, so that's Golden Smog tickets Friday, November 15th. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That was awesome. Man, I didn't feel when the guy said name a famous Eddie and his answer was can't help you. I thought we were in for a long day around here, but he came back, he bounced back strong. It's good to have a brother with you on occasion.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So that's great. I'm excited about that. Happy to have Sandra coming out to see the Smog at First Avenue Friday, November the 15th. We are going to be giving away Minnesota Wild tickets in about 20 minutes, 7:50 or so. We like to give away things, and you like hockey, and that's a good mix of. That's a good hearty stew. You know what I mean? We're gonna have a nice radio stew here this morning. Have you ever been to SeaWorld?
I've not been to SeaWorld.
Tony,
no.
ever go to SeaWorld?
Yeah, I have.
You seen the killer whales hopping around?
Seen
and stuff?
Shamu flop a boot.
The actual Shamu?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Ryder, is that a thing?
SeaWorld?
Yeah.
It exists. I have not been there.
You haven't been there. Okay,
No.
I'm just wondering.
One of those Bass Pro Shops. Does that count?
Oh, I love a Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah, I know. They have to.
Well,
Game on.
we had a story last year about a guy, or earlier this year about a Bass Pro Shop. I believe it might have been, or I feel like it was up north somewhere, where someone hopped into one of the tanks, one of the fish tanks, and let fly with a baby Ruth. It was a bit of a story, right there in the middle of a Bass Pro Shop. And these things can happen. And I'm asking if you've ever been to SeaWorld. I've never been to a SeaWorld. I have seen dolphin shows like at a zoo. I saw one last year at the Minnesota Zoo. Right. Rosemary and I went out there, and there was a dolphin or porpoise, or I don't know, but it wasn't a killer whale. It sure as hell wasn't Shamu. At a SeaWorld in San Antonio last week, a lot of videos of this situation. It did go viral. You got the 2 killer whales in the giant tank, and they're jumping around, and they're making their noise, and they're, grabbing balls out of the air, and they're doing what killer whales do when they're, held against their will for their whole lives for decades and taught to do this sort of thing.
When they're severely depressed.
And occasionally they do get back, if you will, because the killer whales understand if you guys stop buying tickets, then they won't make us do this anymore. So now they've decided, screw the handlers and trainers. Let's take it out on the people. The video during the orca show, you see a killer whale swimming right by the front row. You got all these people up front, and when you go to these shows, they say you'll probably get wet. There's going to be some splashing. Well, one of the orcas jumps up out of the water, lands in the water, and as they're swimming by and everyone's cheering, you see him very clearly leave a trail, if you will. Yeah. Just lets loose, releases more from the bowels than any 50 people you've ever seen.
Some of that Escalar, I think.
I mean, fills the tank, just has a giant brown cloud. And then moments after that happens, the other whale comes flying through and splashes all of it up onto the crowd.
That's brilliant.
And there are videos. Trust me, if you want to get on Instagram or Twitter or whatever and look, you'll see it. Yeah. One orca does the high leap, and then he was so excited about the air he caught that he just crapped himself all over the pool. Yeah. The next one follows up, and boom. And apparently the stench is intolerable. Like, it just was people, and it soaked dozens of people.
They're feeding them dead fish.
Yeah, it's Shamu poo water all over you. The impacted visitors were led to a designated decontamination location They received bottled water, soap, and towels to use for their cleaning.
And a Tic Tac.
By the way, they were also told if you need, you can go purchase clean clothes from the gift store.
I'm sure.
boy.
Give them a...
Can you imagine? Let me tell you something. Next time a killer whale craps on me, I want a shirt for free.
Next time.
Right. They want a Hawaiian shirt.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think he did it on purpose?
Yes.
Purpose.
Oh, you
Yeah.
Oh, that was for Tony.
didn't. Yeah. No. Please, no.
And he loves puns.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
That's a hard no.
I'm over 3 decades into life with my wife, Rosemary, who's a cat lady. So that means I'm a cat guy. So we have cats.
I get it.
I'm scooping a litter box yesterday and still going, I can't believe we did. I can't believe this is part of the cat. I love Milo. He's a great dude. We snuggle all the time. But the litter box thing, I'm still like, really? I mean, golly, I'd rather walk him outside in the snow than have to scoop this litter.
Right.
So that's, we all have animal crap in our lives on some level, but the whole orca thing, man, it's pretty rough.
They're a smart beast. We know this. These are mammals. They're sophisticated.
Sure.
And, this was no accident.
No, God, no.
They've been planning this one for a while. They were practicing this at night,
Choreographed.
I've had my share of of animal poo encounters.
Have you?
Like at zoo. Well, I'm saying
sure.
like when you least expect it. I've watched a rhinoceros at a zoo release truly ungodly amounts. Just like he turns his back on the crowd and goes, "Here, take a look at this." And I mean, he's dropping out like the equivalent of entire full-grown dogs coming out of his ass. It's just like shocking amounts of poo falling out of the back of a giant rhinoceros. And you're like, and then when they pee, it's like a fire hose. They can it goes many, 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 many feet. And if they want, they could spray. They can spray people with their pee. They mark everything that way. If you think a dog will mark some territory, hang out with a damn rhinoceros. Does a dog mark Tony on occasion? Sure, I imagine that's probably happened.
It could happen.
I was walking a dog years ago, Clementine, the greatest dog ever, in the park, and a giant dog walked up, lifted its leg, and started peeing right on my leg.
No.
We like to.
No. This came up yesterday when we were just sitting around here at the old Q Studios. You got to tell the dog pee story, the ultimate one. In the yapper.
Oh man, that was brutal. This goes back to this is early 70s. Rusty Springer Spaniel that we had for years. Puppy comes into the house and he's just beloved. I mean, we're like, oh my God, he's the cutest little guy. And it's a Sunday night. The Gorman family gathers around the TV for a little Wonderful World of Disney. Every awesome. Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, bang, we're gonna watch Disney. Or maybe it was 7, whatever it was. It was a good time of night for me. I'm laying on the floor, feet closer to the TV, head propped up on a pillow on my back. I'm laying on the living room floor. My dad's in his chair. My mom's on her chair. The other brothers are on the couch. Let's watch Disney. And I don't remember what the Disney movie was, but I was excited. And I want to say it was Swiss Family Robinson. Could have been 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It was one of those where you're like, oh, yeah, let's watch this.
Yeah.
And as Tinkerbell appears in the opening credits for Disney, it's like, I'm like, man, come on, this is it. Like, I've probably got some Chips Ahoy and a glass of milk. Chances are,
Nice.
I'm already in my pajamas, already had a bath. I'm really excited. And Rusty, the new family puppy, comes walking over and he starts licking my face, and I'm like, oh yeah, who's a good boy.
This is just like apple pie.
It was one of the great apple pie moments. And then he turns and he lifts his leg and he just pees, starts on my forehead, and then as I go, no, I open my mouth wide and he full bladder of puppy pee all over my face, in my eyes, in my nose, and in my mouth.
The trickle down effect. Sure.
And my mom jumps up, as soon as she realizes what's happening. But the damage was done. I was just caked in Springer Spaniel pee.
Not enough Oreo cookies to get that taste out of you.
Not a chance. I'm freaking out. I'm crying. I'm immediately torn. Do I hate this dog? Do I love him? Next thing I know, I'm in bath number 2 for the night. I'm like, my mom's running me to the bathroom. And this is not when you could pick up a remote control and just pause it. I mean, I'm missing it. I'm going to miss it. It's never coming back.
Disaster.
It was devastating. Absolutely crushing. Golly.
Memorable.
You know, right after we got to Minnesota last year, one of the first couple weeks in to Chauncey's stay, Chauncey Gorman moves up, and new place, new hours, new everything. He was having trouble adjusting, just like all of us. And I get up at 4 a.m. and I walk downstairs, and I step right in. He had, in the middle of the night, he took a dump downstairs and just didn't think to wake us or do anything. He was like, and I felt bad because that's never happens back at, before the move. He was just in a new place, confused. Or maybe he just was letting me know that he doesn't like me anymore. But that was a shocker. That was like and then I'm hopping on one foot over to the bathroom to get it, get that, wipe it all off, and then I got to scrub it with, it was awful.
It takes a while. I mean, you don't even want to you got to let that foot just hang off the bed then. Yeah. It takes a while. That's just got to wear off. I've thrown away a pair of tennis shoes. You step in dog poop, that gets in the rubber. That doesn't come out. That's a special kind of stank.
Crevice. Yeah, you get some discoloration on the foot too.
Yeah.
We had a big fight once. I got the same thing. I'm cleaning the bottom of a shoe. I'm trying to get the dog crap off the bottom, and it was caked in there because I didn't discover it right away. And I looked up, and I was in the kitchen, and when I discovered this, and so I'm like, oh man. And then I looked up, and we have a juicer. You make juice, and that juicer, it comes with this brush to clean the filter thing. And I looked at it, and without even thinking, I was like, that looks like the perfect tool to get this dog crap off my shoe.
Right.
And Rosemary walks in and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, this is just getting in there in between all the little nooks and crannies.
You'll rinse it off.
And she was like, you throw that away. I go, I'll just run it through the dishwasher.
No. I'm with Rosemary on this one.
Yeah. I agree. Well, as was I, but I had to put up the front at first, because it's every gentleman's prerogative to immediately respond to anything with, "Hang on, you're overreacting," and then that fuels the overreaction, and then you're proven right by being an insensitive.
I thought you were going to say that you forgot to do the rinse-a-roo.
Oh no!
Though a week later, he's sitting there trying to clean the juicer, just cursing, going, "Where's that?"
Oh, I know.
Now I know what that little brush was for.
It was definitely a miscalculation on my part, but it did the job. It was right, and I mean, to think that I had to go buy a new juicer just to get that brush for the next time I got dog crap on my shoe. It was worth it. No, it was totally worth it. Minnesota Wild playing the Tampa Bay Lightning November 1st at the XL Energy Center, and I got good news if you want to see that game. We got tickets. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on Minnesota's Classic Rock 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, October the 23rd, which means next week, November the 1st, the Tampa Bay Lightning will be in town to play the Minnesota Wild. The Wild hosting the Lightning. We want to give away a couple tickets. Callers 9 and 2 at 651-989-ROCK. We'll lock you in, and you will play a game, and we will all have fun. Hang on, I'm reading this.
Well
we will lock you in, and we will all have fun. Yes, that's right. We will all have fun. And so while we're getting that set up, I do want to say good morning to our friends in St. Paul.
Just St. Paul?
Just St. Paul. The whole damn...
Not the east, west, north, south?
All of it. All of St. Paul.
Towns?
You're on our minds. All of St. Paul.
Yeah.
Bam.
One big hug to St. Paul. I will tell you, I've lived in a couple of different places in St. Paul, 7th, and then over there in the Como neighborhood, and I just love the hell out of it. Really liked it. You know what I like most about St. Paul? Is you'll have a neighbor on your left, you'll have a neighbor on your right, directly across the street behind you, and you can live there for years and never meet them.
God, that's my kind of place.
They just like to settle. It's not like going out to the burbs. We're on day one.
You got to party with the whole cul-de-sac.
Hey, so you just moved in. Can we get you anything? But in St. Paul, no, you live there for years, and you might not even see anyone. I mean, you see evidence that there are people living there.
Proof of life.
Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah, that's
Loved it.
I'm a big fan of not knowing the neighbors. You know what? Let's exchange numbers in case of emergency, and then please have a great life.
Yep, I'll give you the head nod, the little wave if I pass you on the lawn there or whatever. But otherwise, just
Now, when we move, Rosemary and I have lived in a few different places, and when we come in, we don't wait for welcome to the neighborhood gifts. We give them ourselves. It's T-shirts that say "Fences make great neighbors." That's just we just like to establish that early and often, and we're all going to get along great. Let's do this. We got a couple people ready to play, Tony. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we are good to go.
They're ready, and they're full of spunk.
Well, what are these spunky kids gonna be finding themselves into?
Well, we haven't
That's
played
a lot
this
of
in a while.
euphemisms about to happen here. Let's move on. What's the game?
We haven't done this in a tad, but it's always fun. This is perfect for wild ticks. Yeah, what we did is ask Alexa to perform to provide her best delivery of lines from movies. So Alexa's going to read the lines, and you identify the movie the line is from, and the best score wins. Now, today for the hockey ticks, our features are Slapshot,
Nice.
The Mighty Ducks,
Nice.
or Goon.
A goon.
Right on, right
Love
on,
it,
right
yeah.
on.
I like it. All right, well, let's get to it. Contestant number 1 is whom?
One is Mr. Doug from Lino Lakes.
Doug, good morning.
Good morning.
Doug, give me your favorite band.
Boston, because of Brad Delp.
That makes perfect sense. My man had the pipes. Give me your favorite team, any sport.
Go for hockey.
There you boy.
Like
there you
it.
go. What'd I say? That a boy. There you go. At the same time, there you boy.
There you boy.
What?
There you go.
I thought he was saying, let's go for hockey, as in favorite sport. And, all in like 1/1,000,000th of a second, I went, no, go for hockey.
Yeah.
Got it. My bad.
Yeah.
All right, Doug, good luck to you, sir. It's Alexa Theater. Let's go get him.
All right, Doug, Alexa's going to read lines from the movies, and you guess, is it a line from Slapshot, The Mighty Ducks, or Goon? Here's your first one.
With the litigation, the notoriety, his subsequent deportation to Canada and that country's refusal to accept him, well, I guess that's more than most 21-year-olds can handle.
What do you think?
I'm going to go with Slapshot.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a classic. Haven't seen it in a while. Just one line, and I'm like, I got to watch Slapshot this weekend.
So good. All right, next up.
Are you crying? What happened? Did you just watch Rudy?
Goon.
I'm sorry.
Say that again?
Run that by me again.
Sure.
Are you crying? What happened? Did you just watch Rudy?
I will say Goon.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Dang, man.
Oh, he's
Doug's got
nailing
his
it.
hockey films down.
Right on. Here you go, Doug.
I bet if that puck was a cheeseburger, you'd stop it. Ha 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 ha.
I'm going to take a guess. That is Mighty Ducks.
Wow, good guess.
Oh, stop. You got the Blu-ray.
Your next cut.
The fans are shouting kill, kill, kill. This is hockey.
Do that one again.
The fans are shouting kill, kill, kill. This is hockey.
I'm going to say Slapshot again.
All right.
Yeah.
Doug, you got to type that stuff into your phone faster. Come on, man.
All right, your next cut.
Anybody throws me against the boards, I'm gonna piss all over myself.
What do you think?
That sounded like Slapshot again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Show is. All right, you got two more.
This is your bar mitzvah Goldberg. Today you become a man. Coach, I think you got the ceremonies mixed up. It's more like a circumcision.
I think that's Mighty Ducks.
That's right.
Doug knows.
Doug knows. He does. Here's your last cut, Douglas.
She comes up to me without even saying hello. She had her jugs right up against me. Nipples as hard as little rocks.
I'm not sure, but I'm going to go with Goond.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's Slapshot.
I can't. And
So
I don't know the actor's name, but he's a character actor in a few movies there in the 1970s. It's just a perfect delivery. Born with a 5 o'clock shadow. That guy, not a hair on his head, but a 5 o'clock shadow he couldn't get rid of. Yeah.
You haven't lived till you've heard Alexa describe breasts. Oh, boy.
Doug sounded kind of like Eugene Levy there when he went,
Doug, 6 for 7.
Hell yeah.
Very strong effort, my man. Sit tight for a minute. It's time for contestant number 2. Who we got?
Next up is the lovely Sandra from Osceola. Another Sandra.
Sandra, good morning.
Really odds.
Good morning. How are you?
We're great, thanks. Sandra, give me your favorite band.
Bon Jovi.
Nice. Give me your favorite team, any sport.
I'm from Osceola, Wisconsin, so I do like to say Osceola Chieftains.
Okay. We'll take it.
However, it is pretty cool watching a man zoom around a plate of ice on two metal slides.
Overanalyzing this.
Blades.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, are you thinking of Slapshot, that part where he took off all of his clothes and was skating around the ice?
No.
I was.
All right, we'll take it. I like it. I like a little a poetic, a little start to the morning's poetry. Sandra, we're playing Alexa Theater. You got 3 movies to choose from. Good luck,
Sandra.
I'm here.
Okay. All right, let's hit it.
So we got Slapshot, The Mighty Ducks, or Goon. Let's go.
Here's your first cut.
I taught you how to skate, how to score. You could have been one of the greats. Now look at yourself. You're not even a has-been. You're a never was.
Slapshot, The Mighty Ducks, or Goon? I'm sorry. What'd you say?
The Mighty Ducks.
That is correct. Great start there, Sandra. Wow.
Man, forgot about how dark that movie gets.
All right, next up.
I like your hair. It's nice. You look like Stevie Wonder on steroids, but I like it.
Slapshot.
I'm sorry, that is from Goon. Very similar. Your next cut.
Eddie Shore, old-time hockey. Yeah, old-time hockey.
Old-time hockey. That has to be Mighty Ducks.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a famous line from Slapshot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Old-time hockey. It's all right. Next up, Sandra, you'll get this.
I'm feeling generous today, so I'm gonna let your sorry vanilla booty out of here before we be using your eyeballs as hockey pucks.
Goons?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mighty Ducks.
It sounds like a Goon line.
It
Does
does.
sound like a Goon line.
It does.
It's kind of hard with that voice.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
That's the twist.
Alexa's a tricky mistress. She's a prankster.
Yeah.
Next one, Sandra.
What are we doing? Putting on the foil. Every game, putting on the foil.
On the foil. Goons.
Oh, sorry.
Well, they were goons, those handsome
handsome
movies.
Yeah.
Definitely goons, but no.
2 more for you, Sandra.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk down that stinkin' runway, open up this robe and wiggle my dick at him. And you know why? Because I want you to have a heart attack and die.
Mighty Ducks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, that was,
Are you sure that wasn't the Mighty Ducks, Tony?
it was very Slapshotty.
I want Sandra to direct the next Mighty Duck.
No kidding.
I'll watch that one.
It'll be the Mighty Ucks. You have to put a beep on the front end of that movie, in front of that name. I mean,
One more for you, dear.
Okay.
Did you fall off a toilet paper roll? Do you pee rainbows? Do you fart cinnamon?
Come on, Sandra.
It sounds like kids talking, so it's got to be Mighty Ducks.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's from Goon.
Well, I
Wow.
mean, Goon is, that was like kids talk.
Yeah.
That's a terrible.
wow,
true.
Sandra,
tricky.
my favorite 1 for 7 performance ever.
Yeah, that
I'm
was good
sorry to
stuff.
say you didn't have not enough to win the tickets, but we really appreciate you calling in and playing. Doug, man, you have won tickets to see the Tampa Bay Lightning November the 1st. Congratulations.
Me?
Yes,
You, mister.
you won, brother.
Hey, man, cool. How'd the other person do?
Not as well.
Not as well.
The opposite of your score.
Yeah. You went
Oh, okay,
6 for 7.
okay.
Sandra went 1 for 7. We all had a good time.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
One wrong, she got one right.
Oh, man. We were talking earlier on the show about songs that make our skin crawl for Halloween. Not scary songs, just personally the ones we hate. And now I'm getting several text messages. Hey, wondering if you guys would play Don't Worry, Be Happy. Because, of course, Zepp already mentioned the fact that grinds his gears like few others. These things
go
happen.
ahead and not worry and be happy.
Yep.
I'd like to promote that, but not that damn song.
I'm going to share one more text with you. You guys suck. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. Thanks. Stuck in my head all day now. That's how we like to do it around here. We like to set you up and knock you down all at the same time. The very funny Tiffany Norton joining us in studio. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Wednesday, October the 23rd. Good morning. Joining us in studio right now, the very funny, the very lovely Tiffany. Good morning, Tiffany Martin. What's happening?
How are you, sir?
Oh, hold on.
Oh, hang
That's
on. There
better.
we go.
Let me turn your microphone on. Goodness gracious.
Hi, Tiff.
Hi, how are you,
Tiffany
Tone?
Norton
Good.
walks in and the place just lights up.
Aw,
Look how excited we all are.
You're too sweet.
Oh, we were just discussing the fact that you're on the bounce. You're moving around. You got a new place. You know your neighbors. That's nice.
It is nice to get to know your neighbors again. The isolation. We were talking about St. Paul, and I heard it on the way in as I was driving through lovely St. Paul.
Yep.
And my hometown and former residence. And to Zepp's point, I was in a condo building for 7 years. I knew the guy immediately across from me and the lady next to me. And that was about it.
And that was it.
That was about it for about 7 years, and we had a nice, how you doing wave.
Yeah, sure. That was good.
We'd put the hand in the elevator.
Sure.
Curtis, oh, you coming?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
you coming this? Oh,
Yep.
I got it. And that was it. And it was lovely. And then I moved into my new place, and I live across, and I love her dearly. But I've affectionately nicknamed her, and she just left town, so I can say this out loud, Mrs. Roper. Earlier with, what is it again? Oh, my God, Three's Company, right?
It's Three's Company.
Three's Company.
Of course.
And she's adorable, but she's an ever-presence in my life, and she knows when the front door is opened and someone is entered and might be up for conversation and a coffee, a cup of coffee and a smoke.
That's good to have.
Yeah.
Audra Lindley played Mrs. Roper, in case you're wondering.
Oh, all right. Good for you.
Audra Lindley.
I loved that show.
She was flirty.
It's horrible that I know these things. I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of information I'd love to get rid of in my mind.
Yeah.
In my brain. No reason for me to know that information.
Was she always wearing like muumuus or something? Is that her thing?
Yeah, some floral prints.
And they have the Mrs. Roper gatherings now, where women all get together and bar crawl.
Really?
Yes, dressed as Mrs. Roper, and they put on like a red wig and a muumuu and like glasses and the big chunky jewelry like you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they had one in like recently in town because I saw my Facebook feed of my girlfriends all flooding. It was like up north, maybe Anoka.
Oh, man.
Okay. Could have been.
I've got like almost a Mr. Roper thing. I would love to run into this.
Oh,
as a
you
Mr.
should.
Roper.
For
Norman
Halloween.
Fell.
Yeah.
Norman Fell was the best.
The names here this morning.
Halloween is the Ropers. I could see it.
Yeah.
That would work.
My grandpa had those same outfits.
Sure he did.
My grandfather was colorblind, and he loved plaids and the plaids.
Really?
Yeah, and they did not go together, but like Grandma had decided as a family, we only correct the clothing when we're going to church on Sunday. Otherwise, you could just get to wear whatever you want.
So he would combine his plaids.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
A lot.
Plaid on plaid crime.
Plaid on plaid, and he loved when he would get dressed up for church. He had the white dress shoes with the little shoe, the shoe horn.
Oh,
the long one. Yeah, it had a really nice cane.
Very nice.
Fancy handle.
Got to coordinate.
I've seen those videos. I'll go down the Instagram rabbit hole of two things. There's when little kids who have bad vision first get glasses put on and then they smile, they light up. But there's also people with color blindness. They get given glasses and suddenly they see. And I just think at a certain point, I don't think I could make the adjustment. I'd just be like, you know what? That's too much. Because you see people like in their 30s and 40s for the first time getting that color blindness corrected. And I'm like, I think I'd just go with what I knew.
You
It'd
just
be too
freak
much.
out. Like, you thought you, like, what did you slip me?
Yeah, right.
This is what they're talking about when
Exactly.
people have, mind-altering experiences. Yeah, actually, my grandpa lied because he wanted to get into the military. That's what you did, and he was colorblind. So he lied. Well, basically what he did was he waited until a guy went through the line because they'd line y'all up. He came out. He's like, hey, man, I got some cash for you. What order did they flash the lights in?
Wow.
And it was like a stoplight tree.
Really?
And he told him what it was. I don't know how much he gave him, but he gave him some money, and then that's how he passed. And he served. He was a career military guy.
Oh,
completely colorblind.
Thank goodness the other side had different helmets anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah. He was never like a combat soldier. But.
Okay.
Wow. That makes me think of my older brother Tom, who was drafted to go to Vietnam and wasn't allowed in because he had a criminal record. Go figure.
What?
Yeah, these things happen.
That's called good trouble.
I thought that's why they sent you to Vietnam.
No, back then apparently they still had these kind of weird standards where they didn't want somebody who had who had exhibited moral whatever lessening.
I was out. You got to Sturgis, and I had a chance to tour the Deadwood Jail. It's the original Deadwood Jail there, and I had a chance to tour it from the inside as sort of a working deal, as a misunderstanding. Anyway, I was in there, and this one guy tells me that he is a retired Navy vet. And thank you for your service. And he said, yeah, right there in the Deadwood Jail. That's where I was recruited back in the day when you would get out of jail. They had 4 buses sitting outside, 4 different colors, blue for the Air Force, green for the Army, white Navy, yada, yada. And they said, which bus would you like to get on? And he got on the white bus.
Yeah, that makes sense. Tiffany, ever been arrested?
Hesitation.
Anything we don't want to discuss?
Can we?
There's your answer.
I'd like to reframe the question as detained. Yes,
Okay,
I've been detained.
Been detained. But no military service as a result.
No military. No.
Yeah, no.
No, my brother served. My brother was in. My brother was in, but then he's no longer in the service. But
Tiffany Norton is appearing in the area. A few gigs coming up. Wednesday, November the 27th at Lucky's 13.
yeah, they have a little speakeasy there called the Mud Room. It's downstairs. If you haven't been, it's kind of fun.
Wow. And then the 29th in Hudson, Wisconsin.
Yep.
At the Cracked Barrel Winery. I almost said Cracker Barrel Winery, and I almost had a lot of questions.
Right?
Cracked Barrel Winery. And then then you got Saturday, December 28th, annual New Year New Hope comedy show at the New Hope Cinema Grill.
Fun.
You're a busy gal.
Well, trying to fill in the old calendar here.
Sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think people are going to be ready to get out and laugh, especially after all this, hopefully, knock on wood, this whole election deal is wrapped up
behind us in the
Good
rear view.
Lord.
Hopefully, you gotta just pack in at least 4 weeks of arguments after, questions and are we ever recounts and all that. By the end of December, surely we'll just be moving on.
I hope to God we've got a winner by then, right?
Yeah.
And if anybody you don't want to have the arguments with the relatives, bring them to the comedy show.
Yeah.
We'll say the things for you.
Right, exactly. The good thing about there's a million good things about comedy, but of course a lot of difficult subjects, as you're referencing, maybe not so easy to talk about with friends and loved ones, but you get on a stage, you get a mic in your hand, and suddenly you can find that it's all sort of acceptable there. And let's just get right to it. You've had an interesting few years.
Oh yeah, I have. It's funny too because Tony's known me for a long time, and I've just started kind of talking to people about it. But yeah, about 2 years ago, I had. I don't know. In the old days, I think they'd call it a mental breakdown or like a nervous breakdown.
Good old-fashioned nervous breakdown?
Nervous breakdown. That's a fun one. Bringing that back.
Yeah.
But now I was performing on stage, and I mean, there'd been a lot of ratcheting tensions in my life, and a lot of undiagnosed stuff that I would find out later. But I was in town here at a great comedy club called Sisyphus. And I had a whiteout blackout, like a whiteout panic attack where
Middle of your set.
Middle of my set. They called, everything seemed relatively okay. They called my name and I completely blanked. Have you ever had that when you were performing?
No. I mean, I had what you would call a good old fashioned nervous breakdown many, many years ago, many, many miles from home. It was not on stage, although it was trying to be. Okay. I was just good enough at denying it until I could no longer.
Right.
Yeah.
That kind of felt like, that sums it up very well. And but I've always been nervous about forgetting what I'm going to say. So I always bring a set list on stage, and I pulled out my set list and I start looking at it. I couldn't even read my own writing. I couldn't read my handwriting. My mind could not get myself. All I could hear was run away. run away.
Oh, man.
So I said things. I know I said things. I saw the lady, everybody in the audience looked like they just felt awful for me. They're a very supportive group. They're like, oh, she's not okay.
Oh, boy.
This isn't good, you know?
Yeah.
And I, in the most cliche manner, I happened to be wearing like a white skirt that night, like one of the long flowy ones because it was hot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running to my car. I trip. I fall. I'm bleeding.
Oh, my
knees. I skinned my knees like I'm 10 on my white skirt. Blood everywhere. And what do? I go right to the liquor store. And I'm like, because we can't remember this tomorrow.
No.
You know, and that was when I woke up that next morning. I'm like, I got to do something. And so started really occupying and haunting online spaces and going to online meetings, any kind of meeting I could get to. Because I was just terrified of going to an in-person meeting. And so through that and through conversations and people that I've met along the way, I also found out through the course of going back to therapy, and I'll say this for my Gen X listeners out there, I had been three or four times, always misdiagnosed, and they misdiagnose women often. They always said, you have depression, you have anxiety. Turns out I have attention deficit disorder, and I also have post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder happens more often in women and is largely undiagnosed.
Okay.
So, move it around. If you feel like the answers you're getting from your mental health person aren't great, keep going. But yeah, it led me to partner with a local group here. That's working on that very thing.
That's wonderful. And so I don't know how much material there is. There's not a whole lot to laugh at, but there's certainly a lot to relate to. And in you talking about this on stage or say here, the idea of so many of these things, this is a very different time than 30 years ago, even 20 years ago. But I guarantee you there are people listening who can at least relate to that. Like, oh, wait a minute, I kind of might know what she's talking about. And the idea that you're talking about it publicly that's great.
Well, I'm
not easy. I'm sure.
I'm nervous right now. I almost half want to cry right now, but
we're here.
I mean, I know, but if it can help someone, because it's really
everybody in the last 5 years, especially. I mean, if there was ever a perfect match to light a bunch of wicks people didn't know were even there, I would say that the last 5 years have done the job.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you had any questions before.
Yeah. Nothing like a little worldwide lockdown and global this and that, and then everything happening. Yeah. These are very trying times. There's no question about it. But, if you're able to get out and see Tiffany, again, I'm just going to give these dates. Wednesday, November 27th at the Lucky's 13.
Oh, I know. This is a great pitch for my show now.
It is.
Like, she's crying.
No. Hey, you know what?
She's going to have a meltdown again.
It's Tiffany.
Well, that might sell some tickets.
Hey, but anybody knows, and we do have a great audience who support, this is such a great comedy town, and we have comedians all the time, and our listeners certainly know that the best part of comedy shows, it's not just that you're laughing, but you also leave and have something to think about too. And I'm quite confident you give people both.
Yeah, or I'll confuse you.
Right. Well, hey, they got to work through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's awesome. I also think, and I don't mean to dig too much into this, but we talked a little bit about this last time. Just go back. I mean, you are someone who 20 years ago, comedy was not on your radar at all. You were in the mortgage world, real estate, and then all of a sudden there's this thing called the global housing meltdown that leads to a global depression in 2007 and 8. And you're like, I got to do something. And somehow you ended up with a microphone in your hand.
I did, and it's a crazy road.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something I'd always wanted to try. And when you are unemployed for a long period of time, you're like, well, why not? You know, maybe this is happening because the universe wants me to have another experience. I did read The Secret. I really did.
You read The Secret.
I read it a lot. I bought the movie too, the DVD. I thought it was totally real, and then the guy had, he was kind of a fraud. One of them.
Yeah.
But.
And The Secret was what exactly?
So
the universe
basically,
is talking to you?
The law of attraction.
That's it.
Yeah,
okay.
But one of the co-authors later on got in trouble with a little sweat lodge deal. He just kept saying, "Well, the universe is basically saying that you're not tough enough." like to sit in a 125 degree Adobe thing in a sauna in the desert. But
that's right. That's right. It's all coming back to me now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but you know what? It's any book, any movie, any movement. It's like a platter of appetizers. Just pick and choose the ones you like and leave the others. You know what I mean? You don't have to like all the cheese. Just like one of them.
Yeah, you don't have to get all your needs met from one.
One of those chapters did the job. The other one, complete bunk. Let it go.
Yep, make a hodgepodge.
Yeah, that's the good thing about being an adult. You can make these decisions.
Yeah, I like it. It's like a goulash of good feelings.
Painful memory here. My mom, I'm the youngest of 8. My mom cooked in bulk, as you might imagine. And we had a regular goulash dinner. And I was probably in my mid-20s when I realized that wasn't goulash. That was just a mess of weird everything left over at the end of the week. Because the first time I had actual goulash, I was like, wait, this has flavor.
Yeah, right.
This is like a specific thing.
Yeah.
What is paprika? I was like, what the hell is that? I just thought it had extra pepper on all those weird mystery meats. I thought that was goulash.
And my mom used to take like leftover hot dish and take the old leftover spaghetti and mash it on. That was our goulash. You're right. It was just
bowl of glop.
I thought that's what goulash was, but I missed that old goulash.
Tiffany, St. Paul gal, so you a Vikings fan then?
Yes.
I mean, kind of a good season we're working on here.
Okay. Has anybody not spoken? Don't say that. Has no one talked to him about the rules?
No. I love to just whine people. I'm 2 years in town. I still get away with it. It's great.
His first comment was, we started the show in January of 23. His first comment was, I think the Vikes are going to the Super Bowl. We're like, well, you son of a...
I did it. First day I said it, and I watched all their face. Everyone's like the blood drained from their face. It was great.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
I know. We've been existing on crumbs for so long. It's the longest abusive relationship I've actually been in.
Yeah.
Well, sure, it's lifelong.
It really is.
Yeah.
Every season, they promise it's going to get better.
Yep.
They don't mean it. They're going to be better next year. They're working on it. They're making new acquisitions.
First rock concert you saw, just with your friends, not like with your parents, but you're a cool kid. You and your friends got tickets. You're going to see it. What was it?
Okay. Well, I actually have two cool answers. Well, first concert I saw with my parents. I'm rejecting John Denver. At the Minnesota State Fair.
Oh, come on. That's nice.
Yeah. Although I didn't think it was so cool in 7th grade, but now I'm very proud of it. Super proud of it now.
Yeah, you are.
First concert with friends, Rolling Stones.
Wow.
Steel Wheels tour.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Back in the 80s.
Hell yeah.
89, my friend and I worked at Record Town.
Nice.
In, what was it, Maplewood Mall?
Yeah.
Yep. And there was a sales contest because New Kids on the Block had released a Christmas album.
Oh, who could forget that?
Who could forget that? It sold like crazy. These girls slept out. They slept in the mall. They had supervised sleeping for the...
Every year when we light the tree, well, that's what we listen to.
Is it really?
No.
It should be.
No,
they don't have a tree. Come on.
But yeah, she won the tickets for a sales contest. And she's like, do you like these guys? Like, I don't really like these guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, the Rolling Stones. I'm like, yeah, I think we should go.
I saw that tour as well. First time I saw the Stones. And you will, of course, remember the fact that in 1989, the conversation was, how can they do this at this age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hold my beer. We're going to keep going.
These guys, they're already in their 40s. There's no way they can keep this up.
It was the amount of the pyrotechnics and all the crazy floats and and the stage scenery. Sure. Like, I don't know.
They had the confetti on that tour too, didn't they? The massive confetti.
I remember they did "Sympathy for the Devil," and as the long intro, and then the lights come up when Mick starts singing, and he has taken an elevator to the very top of the stage, 60 feet over, and just being like, and I'm like a 24-year-old cool dude, and I was like, like everybody screams and freaks out. It was awesome. First time seeing that.
It's something I'll always remember. But yeah, you had to do it really in the old days, man. When you went to a concert, they didn't have all these big screens that you could project all this stuff on. So they had to work it all out with like these oversized things, and Some of the blow-ups were kind of ridiculous during the day, like when they would have like the blow-up gargoyles and things.
Sure.
That was a little.
Hey,
it
AC/DC
didn't look as intimidating. But.
AC/DC still has the blow-up, a whole lot of Rosie. The parade float, hot-looking woman still every time. Yeah, that all predates the big screens, the cannons, every bit of it, the Hell's Bell, and I love AC/DC because they're like, oh, we can add screens, but we're still going to have all this old crap, too. It's always the same exact things. You know exactly what you're getting. Tiffany, again, Wednesday, November 27th at Lucky's 13 in the Speakeasy, the Mudroom. Friday, November 29th. That's Thanksgiving weekend. You're working.
Yeah.
Cracked Barrel Winery in Hudson, Wisconsin. And then Saturday, December 28th at the annual New Year New Hope Comedy Show, New Hope Cinema Grill. Anytime, come on by.
I would love that.
It's great to see you.
You guys, too.
Okay.
I'll put you on the
list. Those dates. Thank you very much.
But I'll get you a BOGO.
Yeah, now we're talking. Thanks, Tiff. See you. Hey, Motley Crue just announced a brand new Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM for the spring. And we want to send you, one winner will score a trip for two to Vegas. That includes round-trip air, a 2-night stay at Park MGM, and 2 tickets to Motley Crue, the Las Vegas residency. 10 runner-up winners will get Motley Crue's new EP canceled on vinyl, plus the Dr. Feelgood 35th Anniversary Limited Edition box set. Text the national keyword ROOM, ROOM, to 95819 for a chance to win your top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. You're listening to the KQ Morning Show. Steve, Zepp, Tony, and Ryder on 92 KQRS.
You got used to sitting in yoga pants or no pants all day long. Well, now you're going to have to pay more attention to your appearance. So to celebrate a return to fashion sense, Crocs, a name synonymous with fashion, introduces Stiletto Crocs. Stiletto Crocs. They're just like regular Crocs, only with an added narrow, super sharp, dangerous heel, screwed into the original trademark rubber sole of the original trademark rubber clog. Clogs. Stiletto Crocs. Stiletto Crocs. Surprisingly overpriced and most certainly not to be worn in all seriousness. Stiletto Crocs. Crocs. Posing a real threat to ankles, arches, toes, equilibrium, and balance. From Crocs, keeping podiatrists in business for years.
Who's ready to party? Oh, crap.
Wear at your own risk.
You suck.
Oh, it is October the 23rd. This is the KQ Morning Show. And on your top 5 at 9, which is what we're diving into right now, in case you're wondering, it is Croc Day. International Croc Day, October 23rd. Every year, I hear somebody go, Crocs are making a comeback. Guess what? They never went away.
Never really did, no.
No, they're just there. They're always going to be there. Let's see, 300 million and counting the pairs of Crocs sold in this country since they were first released onto the general public.
Thought it was going to be a Zubas phase. I really did when they came. I was like, whatever. But no, still going strong. Those suckers are comfortable. Mm-hmm. They just get a job done.
Surprisingly expensive.
They do. They cost more. There's I believe, I'm trying to think of who it was. The Croc, there was a handful of NHL players that were early investors because one of the founders was an Australian hockey player, and he had some connections with a bunch of. I feel like that's the case. I'm getting it confused. I don't know. Screw it. I should have looked this up during a commercial break. But a handful of hockey players you've heard of were on the ground floor with this company. They all cashed in huge. But one of the founders, one of the guy who was right there at the beginning, George somebody, he sold out a few years ago, cashed in for billions, getting out of the business. And he's one of the few guys you would ever hear about who's a billionaire who's just doing good for everyone and everywhere he goes. But let me tell you something. He did good for me because I'll say it right now. Nothing more comfortable than a pair of Crocs.
You spend about 4 hours a day on skates. I'm sure a pair of Crocs, that's the way to go. And of course, Brett Favre, football players, he loves them. You could Google that, Brett Favre's Crocs, but it's a little pixelated. Be careful with that. Speaking of, they even have like their own aftermarket merchandise, Croc swag, if you will. They make a little keychain, and dangling from it a little Croc. Have you seen those? Here's a little boy that used it as a ring. His mother recorded this.
What you got? A clock ring.
A crock ring.
Yeah.
A crock ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for your finger, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, just adorable.
Little Rain Man.
Man, that's so sweet. Remember that time Lenny Kravitz was pictured wearing a crock ring? Lifted that. He was wearing that. Yeah, that's funny. Oh, hey, let's move on. Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. Remember the good old days when you could drive out to Golden Valley or maybe even to St. Louis Park? God, remember those places?
Yeah, you can't get there anymore?
No. Say
off?
goodbye to St. Louis Park and Golden Valley. Welcome Westopolis.
Whatever.
Check this out. These two home fronts, St. Louis Park and Golden Valley, have joined forces. They have a new identity, and it is called Westopolis.
Stop teasing.
It's the work of destination marketing organization Discover St. Louis Park. They have assumed responsibility for marketing Golden Valley, and they've said, you know what, we're going to combine them, and now we're going with one name, Westopolis.
What?
I'm not making this up. Here's a statement. Westopolis perfectly represents the vibrancy of our community and its proximity to downtown Minneapolis. It's more than just a new identity. It's a powerful statement about our destination's strategic location and compelling offerings. Okay, you know what?
Up.
I mean, I've not been here long enough to get too excited about this, but I can say that it does sort of rub me the wrong. I'm just going to call it Westopolis. That's going to be my slight little. I protest by simply mispronouncing Westopolis.
Westopolis. You want to rebrand Golden Valley and St. Louis Park? Feel free to bring someone creative onto the team. Westopolis.
Westopolis.
That's what was Roddingdale already being used? Bungville. Schitzenberg. Was that already?
Man.
Somebody already took that one.
It sounds like a villain in a Spider-Man film.
It does.
Look out for Westopolis.
Yeah, I bounce all over the place. No one wants me living in their neighborhood, but currently residing in Golden Valley. Last summer was living in St. Louis Park. And yeah, Westopolis is not a place I will ever reside. What the? Hey, two fine communities. Can I use that word?
You can.
You know what? Communities, it rubs me the wrong way. Like Westopolis. Stop it. Stop.
It's like a superhero destination.
Yeah, it's Westopolis. Oh, maybe I could be the first superhero of Westopolis.
Maybe.
Zapman.
Westopolis, I'm here to, I don't know, whatever. Flash you in Theodore Worth Parkway.
Number 3 on your top 5 at 9. Last night in Los Angeles, the Minnesota Timberwolves, with a few new guys in the lineup, they were looking a little out of sorts, didn't have much of a flow, and they had their asses handed to them by the Los Angeles Lakers. But the story of the night is the fact that Los Angeles Laker LeBron James played in a game alongside his son, Bronny James, the first father and son to ever play in the NBA. You don't have to be a fan to at least go, oh, it's kind of cool. I mean, would Bronny James be on the Lakers if his dad wasn't LeBron? Absolutely not. Not a chance in hell. He played 1 year of college basketball, and he didn't really do much.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, he's LeBron James. He's on the Lakers. That last spot on the bench is going to go to somebody who will never play. Let the kid in there. Let's see what happens. They played together. It was a nice moment. Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. come to mind first to me.
Yeah, there you go.
Father and son playing baseball
That's
together.
Right.
They played 51 games together for Seattle. 51 games. In my mind, it was like a week. No, it was like a third of a season almost, which I was surprised.
That junior wasn't just brought on as a moment, however.
No, very different story. That was kind of like
Junior could swing the bat.
That was like, we thought his dad was okay till Junior showed up.
Right.
Gordie Howe, of course, famously played with two of his sons, Mark and Marty. In
his third decade.
In his third decade in the league. As we already stated, we'll let you know when it happens in the NFL. Don't hold your breath.
Kickers, man.
It would have to be kickers, or it could have been Tom Brady if he had, if he'd gotten a little busier a little earlier in life.
Right.
He played till he was in his mid-40s. You could have imagined that.
Yeah.
But very, very unlikely you'll ever see a father-son duo in the NFL. But hey, for the James family, of course, I did receive a text earlier today from a good buddy who simply said, Bronny equals travesty.
Oh, I know. I got a buddy, Eric, and he's a huge Timberwolves fan, loved the NBA, and he's, this isn't right. I'm like, all right. In the end of the day, who cares? I mean, so they, grabbed an extra spot on the bench for his kid. You know, it's just it's more of a PR move. It's because
it is.
LeBron James wants it, but in the big scheme of things, you know, you want then the Timberwolves get their asses handed to them.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to lose to a team that, you know, when Bronny's playing.
Hey, they combined for 16 points.
Yeah,
father and son.
There you go.
None for son.
Hey, man, Bronny James is undefeated in the NBA, dude.
Yeah, you know who can play in the NBA? Anyone can play in the NBA if LeBron James is on their team.
It helps.
They could put me out there on the court and still do pretty well.
It helps. I always like I've seen a thing where they ask NBA players and they'll say, like, okay, if a guy comes in off the street, was like a decent high school player. Like, say, me. Didn't play college ball. Played a good high school player. You know, now he's pushing 30. Like, when I was in my late 20s, I was still playing basketball all the time.
Yeah.
And they'll say, like, if a guy like that comes on the court and he plays 5 minutes, will he get a shot off? Can he even get a shot? And they're always like, no chance. Like, no way. And I would be like, and I remember seeing this years ago, and I used to play pickup basketball with a bunch of guys in the summer that were college players, pro players, retired players. I went to this gym, and there was just a great, and I'd be in a game. It'd be me and 9 really good ball players. They'd need a 10th, and I could hold my own. I didn't, like, humiliate myself. And plus, these guys are playing at half speed. It's just for fun. But I mentioned that once, and I was like, you know what? It was a specific player named Ramil Robinson. Played at Michigan, played in the NBA for years. He was guarding me, and I said, throw me. I said, really, check me. He goes, no. I said, no, seriously, just for this game, like, do you think you can keep me from getting a shot? And he was laughing at me, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty good. And then he said, all right, and he still probably played at 51%. Not only did I not get a shot, I didn't get near the basketball.
Oh, wow.
I didn't get near anywhere I wanted to go on the court.
Did he pants you?
He did not, in all but literal. Figuratively, he pantsed me, he jocked me, he shirted me. I was licking my shoe by the end of that game. Yeah, it's a whole nother level. Make no mistake.
Take that, big mouth.
Ridiculous. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. 11 days from now is the end of daylight saving time, and apparently an awful lot of Americans are already starting to sweat it. This is something that every year people dread. They think about it ahead of time, and they say 11 days is when it starts. 11 days out, people start looking ahead to next Sunday, going, oh, man, it's going to suck. I'm going to wake up, and it's going to be an hour earlier, and it's going to throw me off for a whole week, and it's going to... Well, yeah, that's all going to happen, but why do you care? Why are you dreading it? Get on with your life.
I've got one more question for him. What the hell are you doing with your weekends? So you go to bed at the same time on the weekends that you do during the week and get up at the same time and keep your schedule perfectly in linear? Come on, live a little.
Well, I can say this. There was a great length of my life where I did actually just every night was the same. But those are younger. It just didn't matter.
Whatever.
No, not the exact time. I just mean late, whatever. There was no alarm clock.
Sure.
There was no bedtime. I called them the salad days.
I bet there were.
Then we had kids. And what the hell were we thinking?
I bet in those salad days there were daylight saving times that came and went that you weren't even aware of.
Clueless.
Yeah.
I'd be Tuesday and I'd be like, wait, what do you mean it's 4 o'clock? It's 5 o'clock.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, those were the days. Let's go with your number 1 story at 9 o'clock. Your number 1 is Fernando Valenzuela has left the building and played many years in the majors. Fernando Valenzuela, lately a broadcaster for the Dodgers network. By all accounts, a wonderful guy, but as just a kid comes up from the Mexican League and is a star for those Dodgers teams. At a time when a baseball player could capture the fancy of everybody, he certainly did that. He was the biggest story in baseball. Only 63 years old.
That's shocking and too bad. And the reason there is a translator on every Major League Baseball team because there are so many Latin baseball players can be directly linked to, every kid wanting to pick a baseball up in Latin America because of Fernando Valenzuela. And it was a big... I remember playing Teener Ball that year, and we didn't have ESPN. You had Sports Illustrated, and you had the nightly news, and then you had some of the broadcasts if you were lucky to get some Dodger games.
Yep.
That's still all you heard about was that screwball and this guy named El Toro, that was nicknamed El Toro, and it ruled that summer. Rookie of the Year, Cy Young Award winner, and a World Series ring.
pretty good way to hit the scene, hit the ground running for sure. And to your point, Zep, at a time when, pre-ESPN, pre-internet, pre-everything, everybody in America was doing the Fernando left-handed delivery, eyes looking up, rolling the back of your head as you delivered. When you're famous in 1981, boy, you were famous.
Yeah, it took us a while to figure out what a screwball was. We had never heard of a screwball, and we were asking our coach, what's a screwball? He didn't know what a screwball was at the time. Fernando Valenzuela, that was the pitch he hung his hat on. No one could hit his screwball. They would eventually catch up to it a little bit, and a lot of other pitchers would master it. But he was something else.
R.I.P. Fernando Valenzuela. Nice run, brother.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.